What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from Zoom again, and this time we are here with Bryce of In Flames. Great to be able to talk with you, man. Thanks for being here.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime, anytime. I'm actually really excited to see you guys play this Wednesday because it is my birthday, the day you play in New York City at Webster Hall. So,
Oh, no way. That's
yep,
awesome.
yep. So,
That's a good birthday present.
definitely, definitely. In
I'll
Flames.
make sure to put on a good show for you, okay?
Oh, thank you, man. Just play the whole catalog front to back, and we'll be good.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. We'll be there for a long time. It'll be a long, long night.
I'm even sure if you played your whole catalog front to back, it'll still be shorter than a Dream Theater or Opeth show. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's one Opeth song.
Yeah, right, exactly. But it's so great to have you here. First thing is always first. These two new singles that you released, State of Slow Decay and The Great Deceiver. Kick-ass singles. Really looking forward to hearing more. Is this maybe a good representation of what a full-length follow-up to I, the Mask is going to sound like, or is this just scratching the surface of what's to come?
Man, thank you. We're super stoked with those songs. I would say it's a good intro to what's to come. It's a nice tease in a way. I think both tracks thus far definitely give you like some insight into what's to come. There might be a little bit of surprises in there, I think personally. Definitely, but I'd say it's a good representation of what's to come, especially coming from like I, the Mask and battles and stuff. I think there's been a natural progression of the sound. This is going on my third record cycle with In Flames, which is crazy.
I know, right?
That's like flown by. So yeah, I'd say those two songs are a good taste of what's to come for sure.
Awesome. And it's funny you mentioned that. Are you guys planning to make like a direct continuation of I, the Mask, or being that this is your third record with the band and the 13th album from In Flames, you guys are trying to maybe, even though you've always, like I would say, taken a new approach, you could tell what's off of Clayman or A Sense of Purpose or Reroute to Remain, and the same goes for I, the Mask. Are you planning on experimenting a little bit further in the future?
Experimenting, I mean, as artists, we're always, looking to, if it's not inspiring, I guess that's what creating something is you're experimenting and seeing kind of what sticks and what likes when you're especially creating a song. Further experimentation, I wouldn't say we're not going to become like a jam band by any means. If anything, I think there's some refining that's happened over the years. I mean, this band has been around for a long time, like as long as I've been alive, dude. Like, yeah. So it's massive catalog of songs, and so there's some, tipping the hat to the old and tipping the hat to the new, and kind of that's the process for when we went to create these songs. It's kind of, which is fun, and that's kind of experimenting in a way where it's like, okay, take some aspects from, it's like you're in the kitchen and you're cooking up a fresh dish. You're just kind of like, what do you have there? And like, you don't want the same thing every single time. You're not going to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You're going to mix it up. So
definitely
add some spice to life,
Yeah. Well, you said you're not going to be a jam band, but I must say, when I heard The Truth, that has some dance groove in it. It's like, we are. Like, I could see an ABBA mix to that.
For sure.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep. When you joined up with In Flames, were you looking at earlier material being like, okay, this is how I have to play? Or did Anders and Bjorn kind of like want you to bring a little bit of your own mix into the band?
I mean, definitely, I wasn't given any direction, in the sense of like, hey, like it has to be played exactly the same with the older stuff or with the new stuff. They aren't, asking me to, change how I would play. They just want like, hey, like bring your A game. And if there's an idea that I have, even like songs, like older songs, like the arrangement live, for instance, like might be slightly different. So I'm given free reign as far as my, interpretation of the old and new material, where it's like, bring my own flavor. I'm always bringing it back to food. I must be hungry, but
And it's also
But
always the easiest analogy when
yeah,
talking
I know,
about
right?
music.
Everyone can relate.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's definitely there isn't I guess a super structured like even this week like after the interview I'm gonna like practice through some songs, getting ready for the shows, and like I've been like oh like I've always played bass finger as a finger player, and I'm like oh like certain songs like actually and there's no rules to bass like I there's always a debate like oh like playing with the pick isn't a real bass player or whatever. It's like for me it's like it's the tone and if it fits the song.
Yeah.
And like the Great Deceiver for instance, it has like a very um punk hardcore vibe to it, and I'm like oh like I didn't record it with a pick, but I'm like live like I might you know like, play with a pick live. Like I've played it a few times, I play with fingers, but I'm like it's all about what fits the song.
Hey,
And
Peter Steele used a pick, and he got more girls than anybody.
yeah, so
So
see there
like,
you go
so I don't want to hear it. And it's funny you mentioned that. Actually, I wanted to get into the technical aspects of bass playing, but first I wanted to ask, actually, if you don't mind, is when you do
Yeah.
play older stuff from earlier in the catalog, do you maybe have like a different attachment to that music as opposed to playing stuff off of Battles or I the Mask in a way? Is there like a different relationship that you have when you play that, or is it expressing something different in your instrument?
Yeah. I mean, man, like from a musical standpoint, those songs are written so differently, and uh, even for the Swedes, it's like totally different. I mean, some of it wasn't recorded with a click track. I'm using like old school processes in creating the record itself. And as a bass player, some of the older records, I mean, like you can't hardly hear what's going on the bass. Like it is extreme. You have to like really like, okay, what's being played there? So there's as far as I guess attachment. There's some like nostalgic, and like my first records, me for the first time hearing In Flames was like Clayman era. Um, and so there's definitely, I mean, like it's fun to play songs for me as like a fan back then, playing songs today is also like super fun, and seeing the crowd respond to, certain deeper cuts is super cool. But the as far as like newer songs go, it's cool to play those in a way because that's the modern. I mean, that's current, and
Yeah.
I guess like that's the um I guess that just feels more I don't know, it's like the place and time. So it's a little bit more, and especially for me being in the band now for over 5 years. So the songs within my uh, career with them has been like, it's a little more formative for me in a
Hmm.
way. So I mean, some people might prefer old stuff. It's just like it's your first love kind of thing,
Definitely.
So
Definitely. Um,
some of the songs that I first learned like from Battles and stuff are still super fun for me to play because like that was like my first, kind of intro to playing, being on like that record cycle and stuff. So that's always cool.
mhm. And when you play like a very melodic song, like if you were to play "Stay with Me," for example, versus like a song like "Pinball Map" or "Only for the Weak," is that
Yeah.
maybe like a different energy or expressing something different as well? Does it almost feel because "In Flames" goes all along the spectrum on the level of heaviness? So like
Yeah.
if you play like a more melodic song again, like "I the Mask" or "The Truth" or something like that, it
Mhm.
has to be a different expression both internally and
Yeah.
externally, right?
I mean, some of like "Stay with Me," like that song, especially, is like so much more like emotional for us, like to play in that way. Like it takes that energy. Like "Pinball Map" is like okay, it's like for me, it's like a party song. It's like moshing, just like fun energy. But "Stay with Me," like it's a powerful song for us and like in the time frame. I mean, like if you just look at the music video, like every single time we play that song live, it's definitely been like a very impactful to us, um, and which makes it's a little different. for sure. Like different songs kind of like require different headspaces in a way.
Yeah, I've always wondered that too. When I interviewed Bjorn on the Within Temptation tour, he like mentioned
Yeah.
that like it is really just like expressing something. I always thought that maybe an album like A Sense of Purpose was like the perfect bridge between those aspects of In Flames, but
Yeah.
there really is like a completely different remark behind it. And going to the technical aspects of your bass playing, being in
Mhm.
a rock band, I'm pretty sure we've all heard our fair share of bass player jokes, but
Yeah.
it is such an important instrument because it has an emphasis on both rhythm and melody. When it
For
comes
sure.
to writing or tracking, do you prefer to have like a guitar tone or a rhythm already set before you start writing over it, or have you ever wrote a whole bass pattern that the band would write around?
I mean, I not for In Flames has there been a song written around a bass part in with my time being with them. uh, I guess personally, I've written songs that where it's like, okay, yeah, like this is the definitely going to be the bass line in that song or whatever, and that you can structure things around it. It's not impossible, but it's just totally for me to write a song, starting with bass is difficult. Like I can pick up a guitar and start, writing something that way. As far as like a preset tone, I want it to be at least acceptable when I'm writing something. Like at home, I just run things, keep it in the box with some dark glass plugins. And that's important because if you're not inspired by your tone, you're gonna like, this sounds lame. You're not gonna want to proceed with a potentially, like a good part, just because it sounds so bad. So that's definitely important.
Definitely, definitely. And on top of that, how different is it? Because you get the call, you're joining up In Flames. Obviously you listen to the music and practice along with that. But does it almost feel like when you're joining up with the band in the rehearsal studio, pretty much everything you learned in and practicing in solo just kind of goes out the window?
Man, like that is something that you can't um like you can't really teach someone like when people ask, a similar question or if they're going into like a new gig or something, uh like you can over practice for sure. Um Especially, most bands, it's not like they give you charted out music or something where you can like know specifically what they're playing or the arrangements. Then there might be some band that exists like that, probably Meshuggah or something. So you're not just thrown into it, but like, super clear, because there is some changes that you'll have to make for a like live situation. um but the I guess the trick would be not to be attached to the way you're playing something, and because you could learn it like maybe it's wrong, and then you have to change it when you're just getting into it, and then like your muscle memory is all messed up, and like that can be if you're not ready to change on the fly, that could be an issue for sure.
100%.
So
Well,
that's definitely like I guess what I guess makes me good at my job, playing in just playing bass in general. Playing in there's people always need a bass player. Like so, I've been different bands and stuff, totally different genres, but
yeah. What's
being
this?
able to like
What's the,
learn songs and
Yeah.
yeah,
What's this band? I was reading about you on the archives. What's this
yeah,
band Ives or Ives?
vibes.
Ives. Okay, my
So
bad.
that was me and my brothers. Like I was in high school, and that was our straight out of high school. I was We didn't go to college, but we just toured and played a bunch of college radio stuff. But that was like the indie rock, like that was the formative period of me first touring and like playing shows, small clubs, like all around the U.S. And man, that was super fun. Um, and that was like just like indie pop rock. Like we have an unreleased record that we never dropped. Um, but then then I moved to Nashville. I got sucked into country music, of course, and I played for a country artist there. Totally unintentional, but that happens. I mean, I have buddies who have quit their rock bands and now just tour with country bands.
I mean, the singer
But
of Morbid Angel, the
yeah,
former singer of Morbid Angel, does country. So I think it's awesome when artists do genres. Look at Nergal from Behemoth. I mean,
yeah. I mean,
so
it's something where I think a lot of like from a music fan's perspective, you don't want to hear these things in a way because you're just like, metal to death kind of thing. But it's like, their music, if you can appreciate everything and like, especially as a musician, you find aspects of different genres that you like, oh, actually, I like that. I like the melody in that pop song or, and all that. And I've always tried to just maintain an appreciation overall for music. And I've been super thankful with the opportunities I've had to kind of play different genres. Um, but never have I, like it's, I've always loved aggressive music at the gym, and I've always been, a hardcore kid at heart. And like that was something that's always been like a factor throughout any of those other bands I've played in. And it's like always been, metalhead into heavy aggressive music. And that was like the kind of music I really, grew up with
well,
through.
speaking of diversity, actually, though, because I don't think you get a band that has toured with a more versatile roster. I mean, just to recap the last couple of years, All That Remains, Within Temptation, you
Yeah.
did a tour with. You're going out now with Fit for an Autopsy, and then you're gonna do shows with Meshuggah and At the Gates, which with an
Yeah.
At the Gates, it's a given, like going to be an awesome show. But like, how
Yeah.
different of an audience have you noticed depending on the crowds you've played in front of, or the bands you've toured with, I should say?
Yeah, I mean, some like I can't say that Within Temptation fans like In Flames, but we love them.
That was a
But
great show. That was a
it
great show. I
it
was
was
there.
fun. It was fun, but definitely like I think some of them were, who weren't familiar with In Flames were like, oh, what is going on here, But yeah, we've definitely been able to tour with some great. I mean, just like looking back, even Norma Jean, and like doing stuff with Breaking Benjamin, and like just it's very wide spectrum, but I mean, like we get to meet tons of cool people. Kind of, it's a little bit of cross genre, but the fans like were able to connect with them. I think people, even if you're not familiar with In Flames and maybe it's too heavy for you or not heavy enough, I think there's something to connect with for sure. And like I think that the energy we bring and like the show that we bring is always, we're giving it 10 out of 10, or 100%, and so it's definitely cool.
Uh,
Like
Were you on the tour with Hell Yeah as well in 2016? Were you in the band yet?
no, no, that was right before me. I
Okay, okay.
joined 2017.
Okay, yeah, because that too was like an interesting lineup to say the least as
Yeah,
well. Like, I mean, but it's always interesting. You can't tour like okay, like I love straight up death metal shows. I love seeing Cannibal Corpse and Morbid
yeah,
Angel and Necrot on the same bill, but. I also like seeing that because I remember with the Within Temptation tour, the opening band, I think they were called Smash Into Pieces or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah.
were nothing like both of you either. Like they reminded
No,
me of like Dance Gavin Dance or something like that.
yeah,
So I think in
for
the
sure.
end it just works out for the best. So
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
yep. And finally, I just wanted to talk because you were in gaming mode. What games have
Yeah.
you been playing lately? And can some fans find you online and
For
maybe
sure.
and
I,
mess
I
you up?
am I am definitely findable via Steam and I guess it'd be Xbox Live. I've been playing like using Game Pass for Xbox or for my PC a lot, so I've been playing whatever they offer there. But lately, let's see here. Since I've been home, I haven't been gaming that much. I've been wanting to, but I know I'm leaving for tour for such a long time, and I don't want to leave my wife like high and dry on things. So I've just been working long hours, just taking care of the house and doing things, projects. But Elden Ring, I've been taking another, stab at. because I knew what to expect. I never got into the From Software thing, but that game just looks so cool, so metal, so like just everything looked just really really cool. So I've been grinding that and just trying to level up my character so I don't die as easily. And then also the past like over the summer, Red Dead 2 again, just playing, trying to 100% it. And then online, I've been playing Destiny 2.
Okay.
Getting back into that, yeah. So
I've always loved it when musicians had like their online playability characters, like with Corpse Grinder and World of Warcraft. I mean,
yeah, that's
yeah,
so cool.
yeah. There needs to be like I don't know much about World of Warcraft, but I guess it's like sort of like undead versus humans or something like that. They need to
There
make
is some, yeah.
they need to make a metal team and just have Corpse
Yeah.
Grinder as a character. That should be a video game that's happening. We need to get Brendan Small on the phone and see if we
Exactly.
see if we can do that.
I'd be on board for sure.
Yeah, and Guar, the guys from Guar will be the final boss.
Yeah, yeah.
So
it is cool to see the little bit more metal community involvement in some video games now.
100%. I think
Like
Guitar
in the
Hero
indies
broke
and stuff.
that
So
mold.
it's been cool.
Yeah. So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys rock out on my birthday, September 7th at Webster Hall. I know that you got the tour. It's you guys, Fit for an Autopsy, Orbit Culture, and Vended. Is there just anything else with In Flames that you would like to promote? When can we be expecting this new album? Because I've already jammed the hell out of these new singles. I want to hear more.
I can tell you this much. There will be an announcement in the coming weeks. And man, super stoked to get new music out to you guys, and looking forward to touring our tails off through up until Christmas. It's gonna be sick.
Hell yeah.
Dude, well, I'll see you on your birthday.
Yep.
Come say what's up.
Absolutely.
And man, I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you so much, everybody. Bryce of In Flames, new stuff coming very soon. Catch them on tour with Fit for an Autopsy, Orbit Culture, and Vended. And we will see you next time on Heavy New York.
Awesome.